The following is a lecture given by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami on January 3rd, 1990 in New Orleans, Louisiana. The class begins with a reading from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 13, Text 13.
Karoti vachalang pangulang gayate giring at kipa tamahang bande Sri Gurung Dinatarinang Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Ishangna Tushta Bhagavan Yajnalingo Janardhana Tesham Sramo Hyaparthaya Yad ātmā-nadrita swayam. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Janardana, Lord Krishna, is the form to accept all the results of sacrifice. If he is not satisfied, then one's labor for advancement is futile. He is ultimate self, and therefore one who does not satisfy him certainly neglects his own interests. Purport. Brahma is deputed as the supreme head of universal affairs, and he in his turn deputes Manu and others as charged the affairs of the of the material manifestation. But the whole show is for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Brahma knows how to satisfy the Lord, and similarly persons engaged in the line of Brahma's plan of activities also know how to satisfy the Lord. The Lord is satisfied by the process of devotional service, consisting of the ninefold process of hearing, chanting, etc. It is in one's own interest to execute prescribed devotional service, and anyone who neglects this process neglects his own self-interest. Everyone wants to satisfy his senses, but above the senses is the mind. Above the mind is the intelligence, and above the intelligence is the individual self. And above the individual self is the super self. Above even the super self is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu Tattva. The primeval Lord and the cause of all causes is Sri Krishna. The complete process of perfectional service is to render service for the satisfaction of the transcendental senses of Lord Krishna, who is known as Janardana. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta Swami purport and translation to text 13, chapter 13, canto 3 of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in the chapter entitled The Appearance of Lord Varaha. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Janardana, Lord Krishna, is the form to accept all the results of sacrifice. If he is not satisfied, then one's labor for advancement is futile. He is the ultimate self, and therefore one who does not satisfy him certainly neglects his own interests. The ultimate self is used here, ātmā-suprasāda, to explain Bhagavan, Janardana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. People are concerned about their self-interest, but they, due to misunderstanding what the self is, they are creating a situation for themselves whereby they don't actually serve their interest. Because someone identifies with the body, then he thinks that the bodily interest is his interest. Through bodily identification, one may consider himself a particular race, a particular nationality, a particular some type of external designation, and then create conflicts with other groupings of bodies. This creates problems in the world. One may commit sinful activities to satisfy the senses. So this idea that I'm the senses, this is one type of self. But by simply acting on the sense level, just like a small baby, they just want to eat, sleep. They're not able to see beyond the higher anything because they're just not developed in their consciousness. So Prabhupada explained that society may be so developed with big skyscrapers, jets, and so many different things. But if the ultimate objective is to have all this so that people can only enjoy the senses, this is like a vulture who flies very high, but their mind is, they're always looking on the ground for dead corpses, for corpses to eat the flesh. So although the vulture is going so high, his consciousness is always in the lowest level. So in the same way, if we have our consciousness simply with the end of sense gratification, and even though there might be so much development, ultimately it's being used for something which is not in the highest self-interest of the individual. It's being used for something which even an animal can get that same kind of pleasure. So that's a sense identification, is one level of self. Beyond that is the mind intelligence. So Prabhupada mentioned all this. Due to some mental or intellectual identification, one may consider himself a communist or a capitalist or an altruist or a holistic, different identification. And this may create conflict with others. So ultimately they have to leave this situation. We can see that all the different self-identifications, how they actually create, they don't bring one to ultimate happiness. They don't bring one to the ultimate perfection. They're not, because they're not the real self. They're the self that I may be today communist, tomorrow I can be just like in Eastern Europe. They were communists, now they want to be democratic. So overnight they change. So we may be one thing today, tomorrow be something else. So it's not a permanent self-interest. They're working hard for the communists, and they found it wasn't in their interest, now they're switching over capitalists. They may switch against something else. And this way, this is not going to bring the solution in itself. If when you have capitalism, there's problems. Here in America we have capitalist system. Maybe we don't have the problems the communists have. But here there are other problems in there. So then we go higher, then we find there's the self. So one works for self-realization. But we find the self is just one individual soul. But the self is ultimately coming from somewhere. That's the supreme self or super self. So we try to serve our own individual self that doesn't help anyone else. And even in trying to serve the spiritually, like impersonal realization, one individually gets liberated. But then again, you fall down from that position because it's not natural to remain in the impersonal realization. You go to the higher realization of serving the super soul. That's also a partial realization. Finally, when you come to realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna and serve Him, Prabhupada gives the example from the Vedas that just like you water a root of a tree, the whole tree is nourished. So if you serve Krishna, then everyone is benefited. So the complete process of perfectional service is to render service for the satisfaction of the transcendental senses of Lord Krishna, who is known as Janardana. He's the self of the self. Inside the body there's the soul. Along with the soul there's the super soul. Even inside the ātmā, the soul of the soul is Krishna. So if we serve Krishna, actually He's the self of the self. He's the ultimate self. Actually, ultimately we're all coming from Krishna. We don't have a separate interest from Krishna. We simply think that we have a separate interest. Our real self-interest is to serve Krishna. Maya means to forget our connection with Krishna. Real knowledge means to know our relationship with Krishna. These are very basic things, but if you apply this, it's completely turning everything around compared to what is normally practiced. It's actually the duty of the Brahmins to teach society this science. It's the duty of the heads of state and government to see that the citizens are engaging in devotional service. It's the duty of the Vaishyas to finance and support programs for the citizens engaging in Vishnu worship, for the Sudras to assist. It's actually the whole society is meant for being educated and engaged in the devotional service of Rishikesha, who is the owner of the senses. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives that system, the process, very simply how we can do that. Actually before, the great Brahmanas, they would engage, and then they would have the big sacrifices and people would come and see. But by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, everyone, even the common person, can become qualified to engage directly in devotional service. This is the special benediction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Lord Chaitanya was traveling in South India, then at that time he would encourage everyone to chant Hare Krishna. He went to one house of a Brahmin, but this Brahmin, from his whole life, he was chanting the name Ram Ram. So when he got to that house, he took prasadam at his house. The Brahmin, he wouldn't even talk unless it was absolutely necessary. He would simply talk by saying Ram. You want more prasadam? Ram Ram? Ram 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 Ram. Whatever he would just indicate by saying Ram. So this way he was very much a God-conscious person. And Lord Chaitanya stayed one day at his house and went on to see some holy places. And he had to come back the same way. So after some weeks or months, he came by the same place. That time he visited that Brahmin again. He found the Brahmin was chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Lord Chaitanya was very surprised that before you were chanting Ram, or Ram Ram, now you're chanting Hare Krishna. What happened? So the Brahmin explained that actually I've been a collector in my life, like to collect nectar of the glories of the holy name. I explained other places how in the West collections are a very big thing. People collect art, coins, stamps. So many things are collected. Even I saw when we were driving to Murari Sevak Farm in the Tennessee Welcome Center, the world's largest collection of tin cans is in Tennessee. You can pay $2.50 and see every conceivable tin can has been saved by this man. Since many gun, knife, so many type of collections are there. So even baseball cards, I think nowadays are a very big thing. So, but this Brahmin, he was collecting verses on the glories of the holy name. What a wonderful thing to collect. You see, transcendental collection. This is recommended. We collect nectar. Collecting nectar of the holy name. If we collect that, then we really have something valuable. So he explained that he knew that he quoted some verses from the different Puranas and Vedas. How the name of Rama is a Param Brahma, the name of Krishna is also Param Brahma. He knew that both Krishna and Ram, both the names were Param Brahma. He said that Ekaram Nama Varadave, Sassanama Tulavis, Akarama Nama Varadave, that Lord Shiva once explained to Parvati that if you chant one time the name of Ram, it's equal to 1,000 times the name of Vishnu. But I also know there's another verse that says if you chant one time the name of Krishna, it's equal to 3,000 names of Vishnu. So that means that Krishna's name is 3 times more powerful than Ram's name for uplifting. This is the number of punya, or number of pious result one gets by chanting the name of Ram. It's 1,000 times that of chanting the name, 1,000 names of Vishnu. And chanting Krishna's name is 3,000. So I knew this, but still all my life I was chanting the name of Ram. Ram was my Ishta Devata. He was my worshipable deity. So that's why I continued chanting the name of Ram. Even though I wanted to chant Krishna, but I was always attracted to chanting the name of Ram. However, after seeing you and coming in your association, now just suddenly the name of Krishna filled my heart and my mind. And now I cannot stop chanting the name Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. I'm just chanting because of your presence. So I think that actually you must be Krishna himself. Otherwise, how is it you could change me just by your contact? And he fell down and grabbed the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya and touched the lotus feet to his head. Sisi Radha Radha Kantaki Nitai Gaura Jagannapaladeva Subhadra Mahaniki Jai. And this way Lord Chaitanya inspired the Brahmin to become a Krishna devotee. Of course, even when Lord Chaitanya was traveling in south, one Buddhist he met and he preached and he defeated the Buddhists, but they became angry that they were defeated. So the Buddhist thought, I can't defeat him by argument, by discussion, so let me kill him, feed him poison. So he prepared some food and put some poison, some dirty thing in it, the poison or some kind of dirty meat or something. It's like poison, you can say, but contaminated thing, to make Lord Chaitanya fall down from his position. As he was going to give this food, but this is one reason why we don't take food cooked by non-devotees, because you never know what they do with it, what they put in it. Actually, we travel, we sometimes buy these juices and things. You don't even know what's in the juice. So we can't offer it to say Sri Vishnu what to do. In my previous ashram, previous life, I had a friend who was working in some juice factory. The things I used to do inside that juice, so tamasic, cannot even express. Of course, they maybe sterilize it somehow, but it's certainly, the workers are really namodic. That's why it's dangerous to take food like that from non-devotees. Anyway, this Buddhist priest and his disciples came, offered a big plate of food to Lord Chaitanya. Of course, Lord Chaitanya was very strict. He would only take in the house of Brahmins or Vaishnavas. He wouldn't take his meal otherwise. But anyway, as he was coming up, all of a sudden a big bird came, grabbed the plate and threw it up in the air. The plate flew up and then fell down on the head of the Buddhist monk, and he fell unconscious. Then his disciples were there, grabbing, saying, "Save our Guru, save our Guru." So then Lord Chaitanya said, "Chant Hare Krishna" in his ear. So they started to chant. So they got initiated by Lord Chaitanya, in a sense. And then they chanted Hare Krishna in the ear of their Buddhist Guru. So they became like the initiating Guru for the Buddhist in the Hare Krishna line. And this way then the Buddhist became conscious again, and he became purified. He became a devotee even after such a great offense. So this is the Lord Chaitanya. He would purify even envious people and make them devotee. We may not be able to make envious people devotees. Sometimes they become. Generally as a preacher we try to avoid envious people and preach to innocent people, associate with the devotees. Lord Chaitanya was so powerful he would even take envious people and make them into devotees. But that is a special potency. So sometimes devotees say, "How is it possible for me to be Krishna conscious? It's such a very big thing. I'm so fallen." But Lord Chaitanya, he is a deliverer of the most fallen. Patit Pavana Gaura Hari. Aha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Koramane Tume Bine Dayalu Jayagata Sangsare Patit Pavana Hetu Tava Avatar Mosama Papi Na Paibihar. Actually, if we want to get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, we should present ourselves to Lord Chaitanya as the most fallen of the fallen. And since he's come to deliver the most fallen, then we should request, as Narottam Das Thakur did, to get delivered first. If we really consider ourselves more fallen, the worst candidate for being a devotee, then that's a very good qualification to get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. I'm the worst candidate, therefore I should get your mercy first. This is the number one qualification. To be a devotee is to be the most disqualified. The problem is usually disqualified people don't realize their disqualification, so they don't want devotional service. But if you're disqualified and you want devotional service, it's a very good qualification. You see, we simply have to recognize that we are disqualified, that we are unqualified, and want to be blessed with devotional service. Then we can get. It's a special, there's so many Christmas sales now, after Christmas clearance. Now it's like after Krishna clearance. Krishna was here, Dwapara Yuga. Alright, after Krishna clearance. Clear out the universe, send everyone back to home, back to God. Clearance hell. You see, so here's a good opportunity. Otherwise, you won't get such an opportunity for billions of years. There's a little reprieve after 400,000 years. Again, Satya Yuga begins, it becomes peaceful. But you can get liberation, but love of Krishna is difficult to get. Krishna gives love of Krishna, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives it the most easily. So Lord Chaitanya only comes after Krishna, sometimes. Not necessarily every time after Krishna, but he comes after Krishna. So even if he would come, Krishna only comes once in a day of Brahma, which is, a day of Brahma is 4,300,000,000,000 years. Plus the night. That means 8,600,000 years you have to wait. You get another chance like this. Of course, within this 10,000 years you have a chance. After that, to get so easy opportunity, you have to wait 8 billion years. It's not like, I missed this Christmas sale, I'll wait till next Christmas and buy again. If you miss this sale, you have to wait 8 billion years to get love of Krishna so easily. Then, why take who's going to miss such an opportunity? This is a rare bargain sale. So we should snap it up. Otherwise, that's why I said of all the yugas, this Kali Yuga when Lord Chaitanya comes is considered the king of the yugas, the best. So we should take advantage of the opportunity that Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada are giving us, and also try to help others. Since we want to serve Lord Chaitanya, what we do, we take all kind of difficulties only for the purpose of pleasing Lord Krishna. If Krishna is pleased, then our job, our activity is a success. We may do so many things, but if Krishna isn't pleased, what's the success of it? Sometimes devotees get bewildered and they think, yes, I had to become a famous musician, or I had to become a rich businessman, or I had to become a successful, whatever their material thing is. And then With that, then I can actually serve Krishna. But then they neglect their devotional service and independently they just try to do something as if they're going to give that to Krishna later. And they usually get very much entangled, not realizing that actually everything is dependent on Krishna. And the whole purpose of life should simply be to please Krishna. In the natural course of our occupational duty, if we achieve certain success, we should also use that for Krishna. Otherwise, independently, if we do even become a success, if Krishna is not pleased, if you're not able to serve Krishna with that, then what is the use? That is a little flickering situation which doesn't last. Like Prabhupada, he made a comment, I think, when some politician got killed. He says they're prominent for some time, like a bubble in the ocean, then poof, it pops and it's gone. Of Krishna, Lord Chaitanya is talking to Ramananda Rai, the devotee of Radha and Krishna. The devotee, they're the real important people, the VIPs. Because if they're important in Krishna's eyes, then that means they're important. They're having some universal importance. What they do is affecting the welfare of the whole universe. Otherwise, someone does something that has no permanent effect. Simply moving the energy a little bit. But the devotee is liberating so many souls, bringing them to the spiritual platform. And therefore, Krishna said of all the persons in the universe, the devotee who's spreading this message, teaching the Bhagavad Gita message to others, he's the dearmost. No one will ever be dearer than he is. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. So that's in our interest to serve Krishna, because he's the ultimate self. If we serve Krishna, we serve ourselves. It's the selfless way to be selfish, or the selfless way to be self-serving. You serve yourself by serving the Supreme Self, and by serving the Supreme Self, you're also serving everyone else. So there's no contradiction. A selfish person means people think, oh, he's simply thinking about himself. But by serving Krishna, you're simultaneously serving yourself in the best way, and you're helping everyone else. Because you're serving the self of everyone. It's not only that my ultimate self is Krishna, your ultimate self, her ultimate self, his ultimate self, everybody's ultimate self is Krishna. So we serve Krishna, we're serving the ultimate self of everyone.